The night was quiet, too quiet for a billionaire's gala in downtown Shanghai. The golden lights shimmered across the marble driveway as luxury cars lined up one by one. And there she was, Mei Lin, a young translator standing by the grand entrance, her ID badge trembling slightly in her hand. Then she heard it. Two security guards whispered in Chinese near the sleek black Rolls-Royce waiting outside. Their words were low, urgent, and filled with tension. "When he gets in the car, it'll look like an accident." Mei froze. Her heart pounded so loudly she could barely hear her own breath. The man they were talking about, the guest of honor, was American tech billionaire Daniel Cross. He was just steps away from the car, smiling, unaware of what was about to happen. She could stay silent and walk away, or speak up and risk everything. When Mei finally whispered, "Sir, please, don't get in that car," everything changed. Mei Lin was 24, quiet, and cautious. She had grown up in the narrow streets of Suzhou, raised by her grandmother after her parents disappeared in a factory fire when she was 8. She had worked her way up, teaching herself English late at night, skipping meals to afford online language courses. Her dream had been simple, to become a translator for international companies and finally move her grandmother to a safer, better home. That's why when she was offered a temporary translation contract at an elite investment event in Shanghai, she couldn't say no. The event was for CrossTech, a global company planning to launch a billion-dollar partnership with a Chinese conglomerate. The man behind it all, Daniel Cross, was a billionaire known for his philanthropy and charm. But that night, charm and power meant nothing compared to what Mei overheard. She had been translating documents backstage when she noticed two men in dark suits standing by the exit doors, their earpieces glinting under the light. They were speaking in a dialect of Mandarin, one she hadn't heard since her childhood. "When he enters the car," one whispered, "the GPS will lead him through the tunnel. That's when we do it. Make sure it looks like brake failure." Mei froze mid-step. Her pulse raced. These weren't just guards, they were planning something deadly. Her first instinct was fear. Who would believe a young translator? What if she was wrong? What if these men were testing her? Then she saw Daniel Cross laughing near the stage, shaking hands with his new partners, the same men who had hired those guards. And something inside her, a mix of instinct and memory, screamed that she had to do something. She waited until Daniel began walking toward the car, his security detail a few steps behind. Her voice trembled as she rushed forward. "Sir, please don't get in the car," she said, breathless, her English sharp with urgency. Daniel stopped, confused. His bodyguards immediately stepped between them. "Who are you?" one demanded. Mei's badge flashed in the light. "Translator. I overheard something, you're in danger. Please, just don't get in the car." Daniel's eyes narrowed. "What did you hear?" She hesitated, glancing toward the guards who were now watching her carefully. "They said the car, the brakes, it's not safe." For a moment, no one moved. Then one of the guards stepped forward, smiling coldly. "Mr. Cross, this girl must be mistaken. Please, we checked the vehicle ourselves." But Mei's got twisted, she recognized that guard's voice. It was the same one she had heard plotting moments earlier. "Please," she whispered again, this time softer, desperate. "If you get in that car, you won't come out alive." Daniel studied her for a long second. There was something in her eyes, fear, honesty, maybe both. Against his team's protests, he turned and said, "We'll take another car." The guards stiffened. Seconds later, the Rolls-Royce roared away, empty. Mei exhaled, trembling. Daniel's team quickly led him to a backup SUV. They drove off under the cover of confusion. Minutes later, as the car disappeared down the road, a deafening explosion shattered the night sky. The black Rolls-Royce burst into flames. People screamed. Security scrambled. Mei dropped to her knees, shaking uncontrollably. Daniel's bodyguard grabbed her arm. "You just saved his life," he whispered. But Mei didn't feel like a hero. She just felt cold. She knew one thing, whoever planned this wouldn't stop now. The next morning, Daniel called for Mei personally. She expected interrogation, maybe even arrest. Instead, she found him sitting quietly in a private suite, his face pale but calm. "You saved me," he said softly. You heard something no one else could. I want to know how. Mei hesitated. They spoke in a dialect from my province. I grew up hearing it in the market. They thought no one would understand. Daniel leaned forward. You could have walked away. Why didn't you? She looked down. Because someone once walked away when my parents were in danger. And they never came back. Silence hung between them. Then Daniel nodded slowly. I'm sorry. As investigations unfolded, police discovered the attack was orchestrated by rival investors trying to gain control of Crosstech's patents. Several suspects vanished before capture, including the guards Mei overheard. For weeks, Mei stayed in hiding under company protection. She didn't sleep much, every knock on the door made her flinch. Daniel visited often, bringing her tea, trying to make her laugh. He told her about his late wife, how grief had made him forget the value of small kindnesses. Slowly, an unlikely bond formed between them, built on trust, gratitude, and something deeper neither could name. One evening, Daniel received an urgent call. The main suspect had been found trying to flee the country. He turned to Mei. You should hear this, he said. The arrested men confessed that Mei had been their biggest problem. That girl ruined everything, he spat during interrogation. We were told she was just a nobody translator. But Daniel looked at Mei with quiet pride. You're not a nobody, he said. You're the reason I'm alive. When the case finally closed, Daniel offered Mei a permanent position as his chief interpreter, with a salary that could change her and her grandmother's life forever. She accepted with tears in her eyes. But before signing, she asked softly, Why me, Mr. Cross? He smiled. Because you listened when no one else did. Months later, at another global event, Mei stood beside Daniel again, confident, respected, and radiant. She had rebuilt her life not through wealth or luck, but through courage. As the cameras flashed and the crowd applauded, Daniel leaned down and whispered, You still listen better than anyone in the room. Mei smiled, her eyes glistening. Sometimes, the quiet ones hear the loudest truths. Sometimes, the smallest voices carry the greatest strength. Never underestimate the power of paying attention. It can save lives, change fates, and reveal truths hidden in silence.